Lissandra just instantly locked in. And this is how these drafts have looked. T1 have been so ready for every possible scenario. There's no deliberation. There's no considerations. It's like, no, I'm going to play this, feel good about this.
That inspires confidence, Wolf.
It really does.
On the opposite side.
And the Lissandra here is going to be blinded, but it's a very safe pick, and it works with their composition so well.
Nobody cheered when they saw this Morgana pop up on the screen. The interesting thing is that this might be played mid. Definitely can be into the Lissandra. We did see a lot of focus on Showmaker. Now, it doesn't mean that it definitely will be. It has been a choice in the jungle so far, the 3 times it has been picked.
Well, it's a lot of magic damage. Works well with the Renekton in terms of jungle pick if you can set up for the top side, but you don't know what it's going to be just yet. And... okay.
Or mid.
Or mid.
Swain.
No, Swain. Okay. Well, this draft, I think, is a lot... it has a lot more synergy than the other 2 drafts we've seen from DAMWON so far. And the Morgana going to be very strong into the Wukong engage, into Amumu. Just shuts down any sort of hard engaged champion that's running at you. Not going to be as strong against Lissandra, who can get over that binding. And
you're saying Aatrox.
Yeah, I think so. I think Aatrox is the right call here for T1, considering they basically just want to take this comp and go even more all in on it. And not rely on Gnar engages, just rely on Aatrox's power in the mid game, because you can only bind 1 target. So you can't stop all of this rush down from T1. You can't stop the Aatrox and the Wukong and the Lissandra and the Kalista and the Amumu with 1 binding. And on the on that note, at least Swain will be able to absorb a lot of that pressure with his ultimate. Will be able to use his Never Move ability as well to stop T1 in their tracks while they are trying to collapse through. And Morgana also, her ultimate, usually don't even talk about her ult that much, will be very strong into T1's composition here as well, because she's just going to press R while everyone is trying to get in there. They have the Black Shield to shut down some of that CC, so she could bind someone, she could Black Shield, stop the Amumu engage. But overall, I think it's going to have to be a great performance from Canyon. Once again, this is on him, I think, in terms of how they're going to control the top side of the map. Don't want to see any more crazy bottom dives go awry. I want to see a clean game of League of Legends. I want to see a clean early game. No top side picks, no fail flashes. I want to see the best of what DAMWON Kia has to offer, because in games 1 and 2, I think they haven't even lived up to some of their potential we saw in the regular season.
Lots of great signs here. Most of them just calling for, let's go to Gangneung for both sides. They want to go to that finals location. And there can only be one of these 2 teams to make it to that finals location to go up against Gen.G. DAMWON certainly bringing in a lot more picks that can absorb the pressure, which is, I think, what you were really getting at. And we'll see if it works out for them, because if they get behind, they might just get steamboated once again here by T1, who is on a roll. Let's go, guys, into game number 3. Off we go into this one. And yeah, really doubling down here for T1. Not Silas, but it's Lissandra. A little bit of longer engage and potentially harder engage, depending on which ultimate Silas was able to steal.
Yeah.
The Aatrox also very all in, has to be in range to actually do damage. A bit different from the Gnar, who has a bit of back and forth.
This is another fight fire with fire type situation, because DAMWON Kia are like, yeah, we're really good if you're running all at us too, because we have no range, but we also have a lot of damage, and we have some survivability, right? And Renekton, the Morgana ult, Swain ult, and starting bottom side here, of course, on the 2v2, so this is not going to hit anything. We'll spot out the invade. It's going to be Canyon starting the blue buff. It's Morgana. And for T1 here, they have, there's too much CC to list. I'm not even going to go down.
You did once.
I did once. Well, I said the champions'
only
names.
Once. Yeah.
But each champion has some extra forms. Amumu's got 2, Faker's got 2. I'm not going to go all the way, but level 1, definitely where Duckdom is going to get a lot of power here. We talked about this last time around. Amumu wants to be able to use Bandage Toss, but Braum kind of shuts that down, so Great response here. Will have a bad time if you try to counter-engage as T1. So let's let this wave push through. Similar start to the game as we had in Game 1. We'll see if DuckDom can play a game where obviously Guma doesn't get 2 kills early and have a little bit more impact, you know, in fights, because he was not really there every single time. The fights were very disjointed for DAMWON. And we usually don't make these sorts of comparisons of what happened last game to the next game all too often, but when the drafts are this similar, kind of have to.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Morgana jungle coming out here once again. Not sure how much this is really being played in other regions, but we've seen it 3 times now in the jungle in the LCK. As might have to hold the point about the Morgana jungle because Owner is getting in the face of the Morgana jungle. Really looking for a play here onto Canyon more than anything else. Expecting the red buff take to come next, but he moves away at the wrong time. Well, I say wrong. Wrong maybe for going onto Canyon, but maybe exactly right for going into the bottom lane, as now the engage comes in onto Kellen here. The Ignite already put on, and you can see with the red buff, Kellen is just fresh meat, and down he will go. That is first blood to Owner already.
And this is the kind of setup for a smart jungle pathing. Like, this is the kind of setup you see from players like Peanut, like Owner, where you leave yourself a back door. You are both threatening the Morgana, but you have a way to say, if Morgana doesn't show here, it doesn't come over to red buff, and I'm not going to be able to look for an advantage there, I can then also back off and take an advantage against the enemies, and the enemy 2v2 who is pushed up. The enemy bot laners are exposed, so I have 2 real strong angles here at the same time, and by not seeing the Morgana there and not going on her, he is able to correctly identify that she's not going to be on the bottom side, or she's going to give up her red buff. So if he comes over there and Morgana took a different path to the bottom side, he walks away, loses a little bit, but in like the game theory of this, he's basically 66% chance the gank is successful, right? And
yeah,
it was a really smart play from him, and that's a lead to the bottom side already. Mostly his lead, but still, you know, it's going to push back the enemy Braum, gives him a little more lane control. It's not going to be sitting under turret this time around for Guma Caria.
Yeah, definitely relieves a nice amount of pressure. Guma, for now, alone. Caria was going on a little bit of a walk down towards that mid lane, but it didn't amount to much. You guys saw that the win rate for Renekton into Aatrox is actually pretty good in the LCK. We'll see if Nuguri, who has quite a strong win rate himself on the pick, can extend that in that top lane, which for now is going to be heavily prioritized towards the Renekton.
Yeah. I think what you know, Renekton could do for you in a lot of these fights is a little bit more versatile, and the ability to get prio control definitely feels pretty good for him in this matchup, but it's all about how you play it. It's a very skill-based matchup. Faker just showing his claw. Commit any further. Yeah, basically, like you could hear him do it. Like you see on his player cam, that's fake old footage. He actually stuck his hand up and made a claw-like motion.
Definitely.
That you guys could hear Valdez doing as well.
No question.
So it's a very slow early game outside of that bottom pick. And, you know, the ways that this game goes DAMWON Kia's favor, I think, are really just defensive turns. So getting prio early is huge. This is not the trade you want.
Yeah, right as Zeus is hitting level 6 as well, so gotta be careful about that one, Nuguri. He finally hits level 6 himself. Probably calculating that for why he was getting aggressive there. Nuguri, a very aggressive player, as now he will go in with the Dominus. Does not care about the World Ender, but Zeus is going in. A heavy trade that looks to be in favor of Nuguri for the moment, as Zeus is trying to get those cooldowns back. As the follow-up will be there, and Zeus will have to back and teleport to this lane.
Yeah, Nuguri doesn't want to all-in for the kill because he knows that he's won this trade enough to where he could just save his flash here, grab a plate, and get a free back himself. Really nicely played by Nuguri there. Looked like maybe he was going to overextend, but he played it so well. Super patient there, despite the World Ender coming out. Just having that extra health with the, you know, Doran's shield on the Aatrox. Gonna feel good about the damage.
Faker, nice movement there. He is going to get binded, though, so no follow-up. Swain, you know, definitely can absorb a lot, but at level 6, his ultimate is, you know, it's good, but it's not really going to keep him alive through everything. So potential all-in with Ignite here taken for Faker with his unsealed spellbook. Could have definitely done him in.
Yeah, look at the pathing here, too, for Canyon right now after Zayas did use his World Ender. Kind of up towards the top side. Definitely could be looking to make a play here as the wave pushes back through. And look at the first buys for Nuguri. Grabs Executioner calling, so has that extra heal deny plus the whip here. So a lot of damage. It's actually Owner who comes up first here. And it looks like Nuguri's reading the play really well. Doesn't want to send Canyon up here, making a call to go elsewhere. And this is the best start, I would argue, pretty strongly for all 3 games here for DAMWON Kia. No errors, no mistakes. Comp is going according to plan with air quotes so far here. Bottom prio, top side control, pretty nice. And mid it going swimmingly for the early game for Swain. And here's that Morgana rotation top. A little bit late this time, but they will have the better setup for the Herald as a result. Is Guma pinned down? Keria going to try to sneak away, maybe come over and make an impact there. But the timing, not so great here for T1. No level 6 for Owner either. Well, he's about to get it.
Should be getting it off of these Raptors. There it is. Kills just enough Raptors to get level 6, as now he is in position with Faker, who is going to get in here first, but the binding is good on to T1's jungler. It's now the follow-up fight. They're going to try to burst down Faker, but he immediately goes in that ult, and then Owner's going to be followed up on, and that's a double kill already for Nuguri. In this top river, they get the Rift Herald as well. Very clean from DK.
Very clean. This is the kind of play we need to be seeing in this best of 5. DAMWON Kia, decisive call, hovering around top side there. They have enough prio. They want to engage onto Faker here because they're like, okay, he's actually the one who's vulnerable. Owner wants to go in with a Cyclone. They bind Owner, so they buy a few extra seconds there. Then they make that collapse happen. And, you know, with the damage that Renekton has at this stage in the game, it's quite massive. He picks up 2 kills. And this topside matchup, which was already looking pretty good for him in the early parts of it, is now going to be so much more comfortable. Bottom side, again, very self-explanatory here in terms of the Draven lane. Zakaria, we did see, is going to try to take the Scuttle. But look at the decisive way in which DAMWON Kia play this out. Draven ult comes through, but Nuguri just instantly comes in, deletes him. And with the binding there, the Cyclone is not going to be able to stop the collapse. One more time. This is a Nuguri call. Well, yep, he does call for it, I was going to say. And he just comes in, takes out the Lissandra. It's a double kill.
Yeah, pretty stuff.
Yeah. Whirling Death helping out with that extra damage onto Owner, who at this point is not very survivable, obviously, on the Wukong early on in this game. You see T1 are like, maybe we could take this Drake. The answer is no, because of the DAMWON Kia bottom side just presses a couple of buttons.
This is the one place where DAMWON actually had to make a big rotation happen in order to force a fight on their terms. They did it. They kept bottom side control. Duckdom used his ult only to join the fight, as you just mentioned. Yeah, he's not ahead in terms of gold very massively, but the prio means that T1 can't cross-map. They can't take anything else. So just the rich get richer here, even in small amounts. DAMWON Kia starting to add that up to significant gold lead here, over 2,000. And T1 won't be able to get anything back here without a fight. And it's so difficult to fight into the composition of DAMWON Kia, as we've talked about. They've kind of drafted the anti-T1 comp here in terms of hard engage for T1 trying to go into all of this CC and AoE. Not going to be easy, especially at this early part.
Oh, Zeus messing up there on the dash. Dominus already pressed, trying to bully Zeus out of the lane, even getting some help from his buddy Swain. And Zeus doesn't look like he has to leave, but certainly not a great trade for him.
We'll use his World Ender. But unlike the name, not going to be world ending for him in this lane. Will, of course, with the low health here, feel pressured now to back away. Will force a rotation over from Canyon. Even Keria coming over here. They're trying to set a trap. But look at that scry from Showmaker. Spots this out. It was able to identify no one is wrapping around too hard, so he can actually stay up there. It was actually really well timed from Showmaker. Just get some extra vision there. And, I mean, it's basic, it's easy, it's simple what DAMWON Kia is doing this game, but it's working. And, you know, I really like this draft, but more so I really like how the players are playing it. Like, they're decisive, they're not any big errors. It's like the nerves are gone. And we usually don't see a big change like this with just one sub in, but it's Nuguri. He's got so much experience under his belt, you know, and Birdall has spent most of the season on the bench.
Yeah.
It's like Nuguri just comes in with the keys to the city here, you know?
Mm-hmm. Nuguri in a lot of trouble here, actually. Does not have any cooldowns. Just going to try to get burst down, but actually he should be okay. Nearly trades it back, as he will not be okay in the end. In fact, Zeus will shut him down.
See what we can get done here. Cross map, though, is what the bottom side is saying. Canyon drops down this Rift Herald, and that's going to be first turret and the extra plates here going over to the side of DAMWON Kia. Ult coming through here defensively as well. Get some money back just a little bit. There's that first turret. And, I mean, this is unfortunately no farm for Kalista. And yeah, Renekton will lose some, but this is way better for DAMWON Kia despite that pick. And he almost trades it back. Extra charge, too. Man.
Yeah.
This is like, if you took nameplates away, like, you know, is this T1?
Yeah, how did they get blue side? But yeah, Canyon might have overextended here, going to be spotted by Keria. Denied on that one, as now the follow-up is going to be denied. In fact, no bandage toss. Faker still trying to press the issue, but he's pretty much alone at this point in time. You see that even DAMWON just taking the safe play. You know, they got the second charge, so they don't overstay, and they don't get caught by the rotation from T1.
And look at where everybody is on the map. Faker is not in lane, so the call is really easy for Showmaker to make. Like, I'm going to push mid, you guys dive bottom. We know that Owner is topside and Faker is missing, but he's not going to be able to defend as Lissandra that Herald drop bottom side. He'll actually put himself at risk of further getting dove upon. So, you know, they just instantly know what to do. The response is super quick. It's been a good game from Canyon so far. The speed at which she clears too, Morgana, is going to give him a pretty significant CS lead here as well. Over Owner has spent a lot of time trying to make impact in the lanes.
Cleanse for Duckdom, and a Braum, and a Morgana nearby. But when you're in this position, you gotta try to look for angles with the comp that T1 has. This isn't the comp where you sit back and you're like, oh, okay, we've got, you know, Zeri, Azir, we're just gonna chill from behind, that's fine. No, they have a Kalista and a Lissandra, so.
Yeah, it's definitely not.
Gotta make plays.
You gotta make plays, and especially with Rift Herald spawning, you wanna make those plays at this exact timing, but they already even had the Swain rotating over DAMWON Kia did. Faker goes mid, and they identify this, put him back down there, catch that wave, and they will be able to start this one up first. They have way much more control right now. They have the better items. Like, Swain went Ludens this game because it's not the Imperial Mandate angle here with the AD carry they have chosen. It's more just an anti-T1 style of comp here, and he's just going to have extra damage, extra harass in the side lane. I mean, just straight up 5v5 fights. So this is kind of an awkward situation here for T1. They're trying to make the most of cross map, and this is exactly what T1 does best. We talked about it, especially in Game 1. Like, hey, you guys got an objective, but we got something greater. This time around, not so much the case, as Duckdom is going to have free push on the top side here. They have an escort for him, and it's a trade of turrets plus second Rift Herald going down. Well, that's assuming this turret does go down, but I think there's a pretty good chance. And all the while, you know, T1 here still not catching up in the farm for their bottom laner. And I think that for T1, the way they come back in this game is really just going to be a straight-up good 5v5 fight with their hard engage that they have in this composition.
Yeah.
But DAMWON playing the map so beautifully. This is what we want to see in the KT series that we just did.
Yeah, and in terms of taking a fight, you know, the goal difference isn't that large at the moment, but we have at least one item for every member of DAMWON Kia, plus a couple of extra stopwatches. Actually, 3 taken by the side of DAMWON. You'll note that finally we're getting some completions of the items. Right before I started the sentence, Zeus didn't complete it, Guma didn't complete it, but they did just go back and at least complete their items. So if you're going to fight, this is probably a decent time to go ahead and do it.
This is the moment on this next Drake, potentially. Showmaker, like I said, with this build, he can actually compete in a side lane against the Lissandra. It's the Imperial Mandate, much more difficult to do so. And setting up for Imperial Mandate for a Draven, this is not that kind of game. It's not about how many hits the Draven can do with extra damage. It's more about just doing the damage yourself with your ult. Having that extra AP going to be nice. Nuguri, safe, but safe enough is the question.
Oh. Looks like, okay, they are going to find him, but no follow-up here, as Swain even going to help out from range, and the rest of the team trying to make their way down bottom side, looking for a potential teleport into this bottom wave. As Faker's just, you know, minding his business, pushing top. He's like, good distract, guys. It's just Ocean Drake, whatever.
I mean, he has teleport, so he's really at no risk. of giving this Drake up necessarily. He will give up the prio for this, but it's going to be money into his pockets. We did see the commitment of Showmaker to come down bottom side. DAMWON Kia better be able to get this, or the trade will not be a trade. In fact, it'll just be a robbery. As here comes Faker from the flank.
He's got a really nice position, but this teleport should be spotted. Will it be spotted on time? Faker's getting in there. They're looking for the wombo. They get into that back line, and they're going to decimate the Draven once again as the Swain survives for a long period of time. And Nuggery is so huge in this fight, but he cannot get on top of the Kalista. And T1, they do it again, this time from behind. They're able to sweep up DAMWON Kia.
All it takes is just one ward. One ward teleport comes in from Faker, and they are able to not only get top turret, but top turret, Drake, mid turret, and a team fight win. 4 members of DAMWON Kia falling flat on their faces here, and all the lead they had, all the advantages they had, the smooth sailing we were talking about, all comes crashing down. Is one flank angle from Faker. He makes the play, and they just didn't know that he was coming from that side. They had a control ward put up as he was engaging with Claw. It was too late.
Consolation prize chance? No, not even that.
Oh.
2 teleports used for DAMWON Kia. They're trying to get tempo on the map, trying to look for something here with the Rift Heralds. They might be able to get something, but, you know, it is a huge swing in favor of T1. You see Duck Dom trying to set up for this push in mid. It looks like they will get this mid turret at least.
Yep, it's going to be the second charge here potentially as well. So that's something for your troubles. DAMWON Kia still maintaining a small gold lead here. They're going to try to force the whole turret down. And even with the Lissandra flank angle here, it looks like Faker just got his ult up. Not happy to engage there. Not going to actually try to force a second fight on T1's terms. So DAMWON actually will get a huge influx of gold.
Yeah, they do get that. It does feel like a little bit larger than just a small consolation prize, but it was just really nicely timed, you know, keeping the tempo on the map, because T1 kind of had to, after the push, go back, buy their items, be back on the map, which they couldn't quite do on time. But this fight was just insane.
And it's just Faker with the rest of this comp working as intended. Like, he claws into the control ward, and you could just screenshot there, like photos taken moments before disaster. As look at the stopwatch usage. You mentioned the stopwatch advantage DAMWON Kia had, but you're just buying time for the inevitable. Unfortunately, as Nuggery does what he can, but Draven dies basically immediately, so there isn't any follow-up damage. There is no long-term fight with both these comps, just like Game 2. You know, if the fight is going longer, it goes longer in favor of whoever won the first 2 seconds of it, basically, each and every time. So you have to clear those wards.
This is looking a little bit like Game 2 as well, where, you know, they got one fight, and all of a sudden, the game just landslided in their favor. But I thought they were going to kill the Renekton. Not quite the case. Nuggery with Dominus available, and the team rotating on over. No need to force it in this time.
A lot of setup here potentially to try to catch a straggler, but Duck Dom a little bit too late to stop that recall this time around. Might have been able to try to force a 5v1 or 5v2 if he catches 2. He's not able to catch anybody. Carry gets a little bit of a delayed back, but won't be, of course, in range of anybody. And T1 are just now sitting pretty. They don't have to start a Baron up at this stage in time. And I still think this game is anyone's to take, but T1 getting all that extra gold really puts them on the map. Like, this looked like a fairly doomed game after those really nice exchanges for DAMWON Kia and all the vision control they had. I don't think they were going to try to take both those you know, turrets that they traded earlier and the Drake and take a 2 Drake lead, which would make you feel less bad about Faker getting the topside turret. But it's not meant to be at this stage. That advantage is now in T1, who does end up grabbing the mid turret, grabs the Drake, and all that extra money on a team comp that was otherwise significantly behind in a lot of respects. Now Aatrox is 4 kills. So
yeah,
we're not having that conversation anymore about Nuggery's Renekton advantages.
Yeah, it's kind of like now both tops are pretty gigantic, but Zeus took a bit of a leap ahead of his opponent. Death Stance is really incredible right now, especially on Aatrox. Like, he has hit, if he had a 1-item power spike, he's got his 2-item power spike now, which both of those can be really fantastic for Aatrox currently. So he's just going to be doing huge amounts of damage as long as he can get into the fight. There is a slight lead in the 80 carry role to Duck Dom, but it's not going to matter if he gets to auto basically like 1 or 2 times. He actually needs to be there the entire fight alive. where, you know, Gumayusi with Cleanse and Flash and being Kalista was able to survive much better fighting front to back.
Exactly, and that's what the flanking Lissandra will get you. Plus the really nice engage from Owner there on the Cyclone. And I do want to see what happens if we see a fight where T1 will actually have to force their way through a choke point. I do want to see what happens if T1 actually have to take a nice wraparound angle, which gives DAMWON some collapse potential. Like, there are ways this does not just go default T1. And clearing vision is step number 1, so that those teleport angles can't happen again. 30 seconds until this next Drake spawn, but Faker's already got a look. He's trying to find an angle here in the Drake pit.
Oh, they know he's there, though. They do know he's there this time, but goes to use, and he's got his happy feet going here a little bit. Still has Flash, but he has been isolated. Nice amount of damage to him. There's the stopwatch now, as then he will go down.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. If you can find him, you turn on him, you kill him, and then suddenly a flank gets turned against you. As T1 look like they might try to make this a trade of objectives with the clear here mid. DAMWON Kia should be very aware of this, but these Drakes have more health now. The Drake is going to take so long to take down. T1, though, they're walking into this control ward. I don't think it's realistic to try to take this one, and they will back away. DAMWON Kia, one turn onto the flanking Faker, and it's a totally different story. We don't get to see a follow-up fight, and as T1, without your Lissandra engage, despite she almost buys enough time for them to come in, they just don't take the fight. They can't do it. They're not willing to do it. And it's crazy how both these games 2 and 3.
Zeus is like, fight me, you won't. And okay, oh, looks like he just barely got out of that one. Yeah, TP does come in. Nuguri in a rough spot here. Does have teleport himself as Faker gets over the wall, and that will be a kill secured here for now. The 5-0 Aatrox. That is Zeus. I don't know if they're going to be able to roll this in too much. A lot of pings, though, towards the Baron, and now teleport used. Looks like they want to make a move.
Yeah, they want to play. They want to get more control here. DAMWON Kia, it's not a whole lot of vision here anymore on the Baron themselves.
That hurt.
That's some Morgana for you. You end up getting a stun.
Oh!
There's some money in your pocket. Finally, DuckDom going to get a cash in here, and it's going to be a kill onto the 80 carry, and just like that, one ward over the wall, Morgana gets a binding, put that black pool on the 80 carry, and then from a million miles away, DuckDom snipes him. Who says Draven's not long range?
Yeah, well, we do have teleport coming on in. Owner is still here. And he is behind the pit looking for it now, as we do have double smite here for the side of DAMWON. As Faker gets in and gets blown up immediately, and Zeus is like, well, I gotta get out now.
DuckDom gets black shielded here. There's no Aatrox angle for him. This should be the Baron.
Owner does get in, and nope, it's gonna go the way of DAMWON Kia, as one by one, the dominoes do fall here. Another kill into the hands of DuckDom. They pick up the Baron, and DAMWON Kia now 6,000 gold ahead.
DAMWON Kia is so good at punishing Faker in these moments. So this is just one control ward. Insane value. Blackpool binding and the Swain poke from his birds coming through. And then the perfect whirling dervish comes through, takes him out. And then watch this. As soon as Claw's down, they're like, no Claw for Faker. Root comes through. Everybody turns on a dime. And that Lissandra is instantly dead. Broke stopwatch in that last attempt to kill her. She died anyways. Doesn't have it this time, so can't buy time. Owner with a nice attempt here. But T1 giving up 2 kills and the Baron. It looked like it was theirs by default. But just one play from the Morgana. That's all you need. Agent Canyon 007 now. Secret Agent making this game viable for this team. And I mean, now with Baron buff on the cards here for DAMWON Kia, let's see how many advantages they get with it, because you and I were very critical of what they did with it against KT Rolster. Small edge for them now. Gold lead, massive. Let's see if they can get some deep vision here, take some permanent structures off of the map.
Yeah, should be able to get this top inner. Doesn't look like T1 are putting up much of a defense on this. So this will be pretty free. Should continue in towards the inhibitor, and when you get a couple of team comps that are very fiery, they love to fight, they love to skirmish into each other, and one of them gets a big lead like this, you know, again, unless DuckDom dies immediately, I think T1 are going to struggle when it does come to this fight, especially because they have heal deny for the Aatrox, so it's going to be much more difficult for him to go, you know, 1v9 in some of these fights. As the push will continue, Faker's got a little bit of an angle, and it will scare off DAMWON Kia enough to push them back for now.
Not anyone in the side lane. You know, it's just a 5-man push top here. Nobody bottom, nobody mid. So T1 group up similarly and burn the clock. They run the clock out super hard on that Baron buff, and there's no pressure elsewhere on the map. In fact, just a naturally pushing bottom lane here is free farm for Zeus. So they win the fight around Baron, but don't take enough of the champions off of the map for them to actually be able to successfully push hard for an inhibitor. And as a result, they get some gold here, 2,000, but not the advantages they were looking for in terms of money, in terms of structural damage. But what they do gain is the line of wards they're trying to now set up here. They have, of course, on the top side of the map near Baron Pit. Now they're using that push to control the third Drake for them, which would be soul point for this Cloud Soul. You know, again, pretty impactful, honestly, for both of these compositions with how low range and how all-in they both are on Engage.
Yeah. Huge zoom in here from Jonah Strong. Really trying to point out that a lot of what DAMWON have gotten is in these bindings.
Yeah, and also, you know, Morgana's Siege is pretty insane. She can clear those waves with Leandri's very fast, and even if she hits, you know, 1 or 2 black pools onto a champion in the mid lane while she's just pushing and sieging, their health goes down low enough, they have to back, or they won't be able to come over and contest an objective. One binding hits, like you say, and that's actually the call to go and blow somebody up with the follow-up Draven ultimate. Instead, they will just push the waves, grab this Drake, and could DAMWON Kia have maybe gotten a little bit, squeezed a little bit more gold and experience off of the map? Probably, but at the end of the day, they still get what they want in this whole point, and they have massive leads in gold already, massive leads in experience already. Cannon a full level up right now over Owner, 2,600 gold ahead, and is an actual carry, not just an engage button. That Owner is unfortunately going to be relegated to in this game. One that can be shut down by a binding, shut down by a Zhonya's. 2 players have Zhonya's, 2 players have stopwatch, so 4 on the side of DAMWON Kia here. Plus, they have, of course, the Quicksilver Sash for Duckdom. So, feels very difficult for T1 to actually win a fight. Like, almost miraculous is what they're going to need, is the perfect angle, the perfect fight for Faker. And he's probably pretty reluctant to look for a flank angle. Yeah, the teleport one worked, but the next 2, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it really is going to be up to Faker when it does come down to that as well, because, you know, besides that, unless Owner gets a really sick kind of like stealth submarine engage into that backline, even then, it can be difficult to make sure that they get on top of the Draven and kill it 100-0. It does look like we might be waiting for the next Baron, perhaps. I don't think, you know, especially after the KT series, it feels like a lot of our teams here are like, yeah, okay, Cloud Soul, you know. You're no longer friends with Cloud Soul. Certainly not in trades for your base. So DAMWON Kia are getting these Cloud Drakes. It's nice, but it's not going to be hugely game-changing at the end of the day. So T1, they're pretty much biding their time until they'll have a nice angle on an important objective.
The Baron.
Yeah, the Baron, or, you know, an Elder Drake, even if we get, you know, another 9 minutes into this game, which could happen. But, yeah, for now, that's basically why we're just going to chill out and clear some waves and stuff like that.
Nuguri having teleport here is really important because they have vision around Baron, and he can side lane and push that through, and we'll be able to potentially set up flank angles when they don't know where he is. I like the line of wards that are kind of being panned near here on the minimap. You could see T1 have for a Renekton collapse. But still, I don't think they want to force a fight here unless they can find a single target. Otherwise, DAMWON Kia just going to kite back for this Baron that's now spawned. Nuguri doesn't even need to teleport, just comes over here, can leave the fight and come back if it's long.
Faker with the extendo scan, going from mid over into their jungle. Going to clear out at least the 1 ward in that brush. That was spotting T1. Very important to do that.
T1 also have 4 stopwatches, 3 in the Zhonya's, or 4 actually plus the Zhonya's. They have 5. Like, they have the whole team can go into stasis here. The problem is, if you don't win the fight right away, like, the engage has to be perfect, so when you come out of stasis and you have to time them and stagger them to where you just win the fight by default, because we might actually have Like, it's just crazy, but we might actually have 8 stasis in this next fight. And it is the one that decides the game, very likely, if DAMWON Kia win it.
Yeah, you know, we could have had 9, but then DuckDom finished his GA, so...
What a hater.
Very I'm not really liking that right now.
Hey, I said 8 stasises, right?
True.
If he goes into his res form, you know, you still get...
Is that a stasis, technically?
I think so.
I suppose so.
Yeah, I think it is.
You are invulnerable. You can't take damage. You can't do anything during it as well. It's basically the same thing.
You can't be targeted.
Yeah.
All right. This is, this whole game is going to be decided on one fight
Not
here.
exactly the same, though, because you can Zhonya's with, like, ult scorn and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you can also... And
like
you also
Victor and Swain.
You can do it whenever you want. Like, it's definitely not the same thing. But,
we were so close!
But, like, this lack of confidence here from DAMWON Kia, even though they have a teleport on the Renekton who could be side laning, is not a good look here.
Guma, there is a lot of other players there, not just Kellen. As now the engage not going to work this time into the concave that DAMWON Kia do back into.
But T1 get control of the Baron from this if Zayas can get out.
Oh, binding! There once again, Faker has to stasis. Owner doesn't get the engage, and DAMWON Kia, they back straight up into that concave.
They can just push. They can just push here and say, you know what? We're going to actually siege up your base and then kite back to Baron. And Cyclone is down, as you say.
Maybe it's just Cloud Soul for them. Knowing DAMWON.
Knowing DAMWON.
They do not want to take any risks.
I mean, you're on match point. You mess up once, you lose the series. And even though this is not necessarily optimal, they're trying to contest.
Yeah, and this is a little bit rough. Okay, we have the flash on in now, trying to get on top of Nuggery, who is all alone. And look at the zoning right now from Faker. Gets into that ultimate. Nuggery gets extremely low and just isolated and killed as in goes Keria. Not sure about that one, as he's just going to die.
Not the cleanest fight.
Everything was good up until that moment for T1, but now they're just being vacuumed up down the mid lane as Faker is on vision, just trying to clear that wave. And he will dodge everything, but the push is on a bit, as now, no, they're just going to back to the Cloud Drake.
Yep, going to go back to the Cloud Drake. It was very scary for a moment there for both teams as Renekton is insta-popped. We'll have his GA now for the next fight, but just isolated and zoned there. T1 so much more decisive than DAMWON Kia, but then in Keria's case, perhaps a little bit too decisive on the return engage. So there isn't a follow-up here. This is the moment Faker teleports in and Nuggery's like, oh, my team is not here. He's caught instantly by Keria's bandage toss. Has to stay
Baron
immediately, and they are doing Baron. This is T1 doing
Very
Baron.
important. They have no idea. And you see Canyon is moving over right now. We have DuckDom is backing, as now he's going to come over, as they do spot this out. And in fact, they should be able to stop it once Faker, oh man.
He doesn't want to flash?
Yeah.
Okay, he got his claw.
He was just waiting for that one.
That was scary.
So nice little try from T1, but they don't really have the Baron damage without their Callista.
In a comp like what DAMWON is running, binding is essentially just the golden gun. Like, if you hit somebody with that alone, they die.
Okay, trying to get on in here. There's only 2 of them now. They're going to force a flash. As now the binding comes in. There's that golden gun. Owner is whirling death away from actual death as Owner, okay, he will be able to walk it out, even though he was on vision. DuckDom not able to land that one.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, they deny the back again of the T1 jungler.
They have these blue trinkets, and they're just spotting out the whole jungle here. T1, everything they're trying to do is seeing. Kellen can literally hold the door here and try to stop anybody from coming over. Faker,
he's got smite.
Hopeful.
Okay, he got around the door, but yeah, pretty clean take here from the side of DAMWON Kia. As they will just take it to, they didn't even have to kill anyone to take that one down, and very current DAMWON standard.
So we talked about the range, the hard engage, right? And the war of attrition between these two teams and how fights will probably be decided instantly. Like the game, you will know in the first 2 seconds who won the fight, probably because T1 either blows somebody up or blow 2 people up, or the longer fight happens and DAMWON Kia either blew people up at the beginning or won that fight. And Keria,
Canyon is so fast. The Cloud Soul actually helping out a lot alongside of the Cloud Rift. He just could not be ran away from.
Yeah.
Keria just dies.
You get bound, you are dead in this game. That's how it works. And in longer fights and in neutral, the poke of the pool, the binding threat means T1 can't get anywhere near DAMWON Kia. When they have Baron buff, they've got great siege, and they're just going to use it. No Amumu engage angle here for T1. They're just going to use it to push down an inhibitor. There's nothing that T1 can really do about this. They can't flank. They don't want to be anywhere near DAMWON Kia, but DAMWON Kia are closing the distance. Now they're in the base.
Yeah, really trying to set up for this follow-up push into mid. As the Binding will sail wide. It looks like T1 might make a last stand here, but another claw blocked by the door, and T1 not ready to make the play. They're waiting for their Amumu. And DAMWON Kia, very respectable once again. They have Baron buff, but they are not going to get caught out.
T1 just have to bide their time here somehow for 80 seconds. I mean, there's so much siege here, so much poke with these pools.
Okay, Carrier's got to go in now. Faker gets into the back line, but doesn't end up doing too much as they are not able to blow up the back line this time around. Guma is hopping it out, a huge cyclone. But that is not nearly enough. Feels like the wallet's a bit heavy here for the side of DAMWON Kia, and they will be able to take at least one game in this series and bring us to 2-1 as DAMWON Kia will push to end.
Now, DAMWON Kia have done it. Just a better setup here for fights. They got ahead. Their comp is the anti-T1 composition. Bindings were great from Canyon all game long. Out-farms Owner. After being gapped by him in the first 2 games, he comes up big. Faker unable to use his Zonias in that last engage, in that last fight. Don't know if it really would have really mattered because, as we said, you have to win it instantly or you don't win it at all. He stasis and comes out and dies anyways. So there's just not really much to say there. Is T1 with some desperate engages. I thought they played that game out beautifully despite being behind. Their Baron setup there, the potential take, the pick onto Nuggery there. Looked hopeful. Looked like T1